Okay, so I talk really fast and I ramble, so that's just me. I just do that. So sorry in advance, I guess. So this is Codemotion Rome. This is my first time here. So far, so good. I've only lost my glasses once on the plane, but my obsession with making games and playing games, they're my life. They literally are everything that I do. And even when I'm not making games, I still play games, though it takes much longer to play games these days. But I guess you can say life is not a game, and it's more than a game, especially for me. So my background, as she mentioned, 3D printing, electronics, injection molding, game development, wearable technology, and recently, last year, body hacking. I got a RFID implant in my hand. Which seems, some people think that's crazy, but they're very small, and they hold about 888 bytes of data, and they have a unique ID read-write. So the body modding is very interesting. I see a bunch of people are wearing glasses. Congratulations, you are a biohacker. You are wearing something that is making your life better. I actually have an extra NFC, but it's not for implant. If anybody wants it, you can read and write to it. It's got its own tag and transponder. Yes, no, maybe so? Cool. So this is my GamePro folio if you are not familiar with anything that happens on Midgard, which is also Earth in the wonderful Marvel universe. I've worked on the Captain America game, Superhero Squad show, and a lot of the pinball games that they did, as well as the Marvelverse Capcom 3 re-release they did. I worked specifically on some of the fabric simulations for Thor's cape. So if you know anything about any type of animation or graphics, when you watch a movie, it doesn't move around. Whoever's controlling the animation can control that. But in a game, that's not how it works. So that and ragdoll physics. Ragdoll physics is a very interesting thing as well. So if you ever get shot in a game and you fall down, that's ragdoll physics. I think the first game to do that was Jurassic Park. Was highly underappreciated. I currently work for a robotic AR studio right now, and we have a hardware interface and a software interface, and we use Unity on the back end as well as some of our own custom frameworks. So kind of my current projects right now is I'm working with Mod Museum in Southern Australia to work on an entire costume kind of created by these kids, made from Lego, of course. If you don't know anything about me, Lego is my, I guess, obsession. And we are working on creating something. It is going to be sent up to the moon, and it's going to be on the lunar surface, and it will actually be displayed in the museum, and it shows you exactly where it is that it will be landed on. So it's kind of cool. Get to send something up there, maybe. Okay, so for everyone here that is a junior developer, this is a floppy disk, right? How we used to play games, or 3D print them now, I guess too. The biggest thing that my obsession was, especially for games, was living in this fantasy world. I was obsessed with anything from Jurassic Park to making to blowing stuff up, totally normal. So how did it get to be cool, besides my sweet style that I have in that picture, and my little electronic town that my dad let me build and blow stuff up with totally exposed wires. I was also homeschooled, so, being the coolest kid in school didn't mean too much. But there were a few things I wanted to do when I grew up. I wanted to be like Indiana Jones and go on these adventures and go on these digs. And I wanted to be, or like dig up dinosaurs. I was really influenced by Jurassic Park. And then my dad told me, he's like, both of those things exist. I got to work outside. And I was like, ooh, the sun. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. So I had this obsession with Jurassic Park. And obviously there's a Lego truck. But when I was a kid, I was so obsessed with the movie and every single detail. And I had my dad I wanted to recreate this set, but not because I wanted to dig up dinosaurs as a kid or dig up fossils. As a kid, I thought they actually were still alive and they were underground, so I was like, I wanted to rescue them. It sounds silly, but like as a kid, that's what I thought like where the dinosaurs were. I wanted to recreate this set, so I bought all of the little metal pieces to do the bodies and the clays and the stuff to shape them and paint them. And I spent hours and weeks and months like working on this project so they were exact replicas from the movie. And then I asked my dad, hey, can you send me a picture of what it looked like? Because in my mind, it was exact. It was a replica. That one's not mine, by the way. Yeah, neither is that one. This is what my dad sent me. But in my mind, it did not, it looked perfect. So it was just funny. I'm like, are you sure this is the one I made? So it was, and I made the nice little thing about it, like on the back, there's actually a little volcano thing. And he let me blow stuff up all the time, totally normal. But he told me, he said, hey, all these little dinosaurs that you worked so hard on are going to be destroyed when you make this little volcano. And I was like, oh, that's okay. We can just make another one. And that's kind of where this obsession started. Making something always leads to making more. Always. That's one of the best things about, doesn't matter what it is that you're making, whether it be art or code or games or costume or anything that you like. The coin on the top is a rust iron 3D printed filament, and I just sprayed it with a salt and a hydrogen solution peroxide, and it rust because it is a 3D printed metal. There's something special to make something new look old, so it was pretty neat. The one on the bottom is leather that I rastered with a laser, and so that's pretty neat. And both the other ones on the side, one is from, anybody know what this is from? This game? Not everybody answer at once. What'd you say? Yay, you get a prize. It's called participation. I'm just kidding. Wait, it's, what size? Large? What's I got? Or medium? Large or medium? Yeah. Okay. These were shirts I had before, and they said in the beginning there were only 8 bits. So, yay, they don't. Yeah. So actually, both of these were 3D printed as well as doing electronics inside of them using something called a microcontroller. Everyone that here is a software developer, hardware seems to be a very scary thing. You have people that are like, yay, hardware, and then some people are like. So it's very simple. It needs power, it needs you to tell it what to do, and it needs some lights. So when I 3D printed all of those, they are all encased inside. There's a little battery pack, and they light up. It's like magic. But I use this thing, it's called an Arduino Gemma. It's about the size of one of your Euros. Gemma? Yeah. You guys familiar? Anybody make anything with it if I give it to you? It's hardware. All the people that don't like hardware. You will? Okay, here. All right, pass back to him. Okay. So anybody here play Overwatch? Or know what it is? This is my friend John Park. He works for Adafruit. They do a lot of microcontrollers and electronics, and he was very obsessed with this game that he completely redesigned the entire gun from scratch, and for Lucio's blaster, and he did all the electronics as well, and when he designed everything was all encased in. You can actually go and download and 3D print the files. He provides them. He provides the schematics if you want to do electronics. So if you know nothing about electronics or any of that, he will completely walk you through it, and it's free. Yay. But I think something else that's highly undervalued, especially for games and 3D printing and the kind of the cosplay community, is is anyone here currently a game developer? None. One person. There we go, one. But when I was in university, all of my friends that were programmers, we never had a friend that was an artist. So we knew one person. We always try to get them to make our like art assets. So in your Unity game projects, you already have your models, and they are an FBX file. Well, guess what? You can turn that FBX file into a 3D print. Like, that model's already done for you. That artist has already done that for you. So this is actually Unity's new game beta for their creation world. So all I did is I took the, I think it's called an engineer staff. I put it in Autodesk Fusion 360, and I just exported it as an STL. STL is what the 3D printers understand. It converts it to G-code. And so I did this like the night before I came here. Where is it? Yeah. And then I 3D printed a little mini one. So I actually brought a few so you can kind of see. So I printed this. There's a few different types of printers. I won't get crazy into them. But this print on a resin printer. So it actually is different than a traditional one where you probably see and it goes and heats it up through the nozzle. This one will actually dunk it in a resin, or like a resin bath. And it has to print at an angle because the resin has to have somewhere to escape. But I will, you guys are more than welcome to have them. You have to take the supports off yourself. But you can see it's the exact same model, and I didn't have to do anything. It's pretty freaking cool. I think it's pretty cool. Especially considering, like, I'm not good at, like, drawing. Or at least I don't think, consider that. Yeah. So. Another thing I always talk about projects that I make as far as, besides, like, hating to sand everything, because I feel like that's what making props is 90% your life. But I always make something that cannot be bought or measured. And I always make everything I do with love and lots of curse words, because that's, like, I'm sure as anyone that's a developer, they know that too. And if anything, I have lots of hobbies. I probably need to give up a hobby, honestly. But I think this idea of working in AAA title games, they don't like to share. So I was never really part of that open source, like, coding community because we couldn't share anything. It was, the Hulk is always green. You couldn't share anything. So we always did our game stuff was coincided with the movies. So if a game trailer was ready, but the movie trailer was not ready, the movie had first rights because it was showing Captain America's new shield or something like that, and they didn't want it to be seen in the game first. Yeah, so sharing is not something that they do. A lot of these are just like electronics and 3D printed, and the bottom one is Lego, and I use Lego Mindstorm, which is a robotic, very easy drag and drop. A lot of people have probably heard of that, or if you have kids, or you're a big kid, or an adult fan of Lego. I think one thing people always say to me, though, is I see all these things that you work on, and I don't know how to do that, or like, where do I start? And I always say, like, my secret is nobody knows what they're doing the first time, right? So I actually went and took you know what a metal forge is? To make swords? Yeah, so I didn't know how to do that, and I went and took a class, and it was the most physically exhausting thing I've ever done, and I will never do it again. I had very good intentions to make, like, this giant sword, because I had seen someone on YouTube do it, of course. And I got in there, and by the time I was done, it took me 3 hours, and I made an S hook with points, and I use it to hang my bras on in the laundry room. So, but I don't know, it was an amazing experience, and I think you make stuff when it doesn't exist, or when you can't find a part you need, or what you love what you're working on, or you want to collaborate. That's very similar with code as well as costume creation, or sharing what you've worked on, or there's a 3D printing community, Thingiverse. You can share your files, and then you can go ahead and print them. This guy made this is actually made from foam. Foam. Yes. Actually, if you like do yoga or anything, that is the yoga mats. Pretty amazing. Okay, so I am very, very fortunate. I am part of the Dallas Makerspace. We are the largest makerspace in the United States. We are open 24/7. It is 365 days a year. All the classes are free. It's very cheap. It's like $30 a month. It's nonprofit. We have a bay for your car. We have a forge. We have CNC. We have all the metal machines. We have a Haas, pottery, electronics room, a VR room, anything. It is one of the most amazing communities to be a part of. The what? Fab Lab? What is that? He said like Fab Lab. That's like a hackerspace kind of? Yes, yeah. Ours is huge. It's very interesting. And another thing too, kind of about the makerspace area is, I always tell people, like, if you don't know what you like to do, you can look to see if you have a makerspace in your area, because those are some really passionate people. There are people in there that are working on projects that are just in there for fun. I used to tell people, if you don't know what you want to do or what you want to work on, just do something that you're passionate about. But then it turned into this. I felt like a lot of people would tell me, oh, I don't know what I'm passionate about. How do I find what I'm passionate about? And I had to think about that, because that's not my case. I have too many things. And I kind of came to the conclusion that if an opportunity presents itself, you just say yes. So if something comes up and you keep saying no, you will never know that situation or the people you will meet. Or, I did a class for some welding, and I didn't exactly want to do the class, but it was a safety class and it was required. Safety first. And I actually ended up meeting someone else, and we worked on this side project. And from there, I went and did some stuff and recorded some stuff for the Discovery Channel. So that's what happens if I would have said no. Another situation, I was up at Makerspace, and I was in the electronics room, and I was just trying to get work done. I was trying to avoid people. And there was someone in there working on a project, and caught my eye because it said high voltage. So it seemed, I was like, what's he working on? And he actually ended up he has just got an RFID implant as well, and he attends a hacking convention that I go to. And he's like, oh, do you want to come outside and watch me blow this thing up? I mean, well, yeah. But I almost said no, because I was working. I was in that mindset. I came there to work. I wanted to finish. And I'm glad I went outside, because from his experiment, or his little, I don't even know what he calls it, a magical rocket launcher cannon washer thing, but it inspired me to want to make some of my own. All right. It's in slow motion. Let's see. It was pretty cool. Actually very dangerous. We were wearing glasses. Does that make it better? That was slow motion. Yeah, but it actually just shoots this crazy, like, rocket launcher. Yeah. Okay. So I guess before we go there, so since he was really, really inspired me for that, I made one of my own, and I brought it, but it's like more of my version. It's Lego. I used it from Lego. So, if you do not know, this is Lego Mindstorm has a few different gears. They do different things. They have sensors. This is just a simple little forward and back gear. Nothing really, really fancy. This is an Arduino board. Similar, if anyone knows like Raspberry Pi or anything like that, that's similar. But this, I was actually able to connect through Unity. I was able to open the COM and the serial port to send the command back and forth. So in game, when you would press fire, it would actually trigger a real event in the real world. So let's see. I promise it's like not, you don't need glasses. Maybe. Watch out for the front row. It's the splash zone. All right. If it works. I only have 2 of these things, so I don't know where they're going to go. Who can we shoot? I don't know really how far it'll go, but it'll be good. Maybe. Yay, Lego. Not nearly as crazy as that, but it was very inspiring because I didn't know what... I was like, I got to make my own version of that. So, though I have lost like a few of these during testing. Here, we'll go over here. Maybe. Anyways, it's fun, and because you can, and it's Lego, you can make anything from that. Yeah. So I guess my biggest advice to a lot of people is everyone knows something that you don't know, right? I think that's kind of sometimes the engineer mentality, is that we know everything and we can solve everything through software. Because we can, no. But no, everyone knows something you don't know, so ask. That's some of the best advice that anyone's ever given me, and that's the best advice, and I feel it's true. Like, even if you go to some restaurant every day and you don't think that their job is that glamorous, they still know how to cook or use that industrial stove. They know something you don't know. So just ask. Yeah, so these are kind of my motto to live by. Create, make, code, build, and share. And that's my contact info. My Twitter is Amie D. I guess I should have done that at the beginning. And my webpage is Amie DD. And I guess what else? Yeah, and I started a scholarship at the National Video Game Museum. I don't know, it's, some of you have heard of it. It's in the States, and I started one for girls in STEM. So, actually we did STEAM this year because we wanted to include arts as well, and that was a big deal for me. All right, questions?
Okay, hello. Thank you so much for this talk. And I just wanted to ask you one simple question. Is how old are you?
I am less than 40, greater than 30.
Oh, okay. And the other thing was, how do you manage your time? Because you have so many activities. I kind of have...
I have the same amount of time as you do.
How do you handle it?
He asked how I manage my time. And that is a very good question, because I do feel... I remember one time I saw, it's like, you see this celebrity and they're doing all these things. I'm like, oh, but they have the same hours in the day I do. If I plan stuff, so my schedule for stuff, I'm booked till October. And if you kind of learn if it's something you're going to make that you know nothing about, you give yourself more time, or your time estimates, kind of break them down into the 4 categories. It's the research stage. Do you know where it is? Do you know what's broken, if it's code-wise? And then you have the development stage, then the implementation, and then we don't always test our code, but in production, that phase. So, yeah, that's a hard thing, and you just have to, I don't know, sleep less, do more, say yes. Yeah, but I don't know what a work week is. I still work 50 hours a week doing normal things. I work on other projects, and I still travel and do it while I'm still in between the ages.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? No questions. Okay.
So just because I'm curious, what do you do with your RFID implant?
What do I do? It holds 880 bytes data. It actually has, if you have an Android phone, it will connect directly and open whatever your designated browser is without asking you for permission, and it will take you directly to my web page. It works as well with Samsung, so you can open any of your phones or your doors, I guess, too. anything that has an RFID badge to get into any building, that protocol is still like pretty much the same. So there is a unique identifier and a password on it, so you couldn't just like scan my hand and write whatever you wanted to it. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. Want more? Nothing? Nobody even asked about all the little random things that I gave out. Anybody know what those are? Who got one? That you want to come up here? You don't have to. So, who's going to bring it up here or give it to me? I promise I don't bite. Okay, so all of the little random wooden pieces that you have, I cut on a laser, and they are painted in a conductive paint. The paint will carry a current, and all you have to do is you can touch them to any of these pieces, and this is a conductive tape. Other side. Yours is on the black. And I also passed out 2 Lego bricks. One is a metal brick, and that carries a current, and the other one has the conductive paint on the bottom as well. And those will all do the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. I use this. I have a house in my wall that is Lego, so I use this so when you move the bricks around, it's like cha-ching, like Mario style. So if it's got the conductive paint right here. This is Bear Conductive. They actually make the paint. The company based in the UK. It was 4 kids that kind of got together and made this conductive paint. It's pretty. Yeah, you can put it on anything. Though they say don't put it on your skin. It works, but yeah. But anyways, all the things. Yeah. All right. Now, any other last questions? Yes, no? Okay, cool. If not, y'all can, yeah? What did you say?
All the time you spent working on so different hobbies and different works, do you really differentiate and split, or the passion is the same in your hobbies, in the work you do in video games for companies? Is really different working for your passion or for companies?
Yeah, so I think you asked if the passion working for games or things that you work on, is it that time balance? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously I work more than probably doing some of these costumes and things, but costume, it's kind of a therapeutic, relaxing thing. And then obviously it's not like I made all of those last year. You know, that's been over the years. I go to Dragon Con, and that's in August, so that's like the big one. So I'll make 3 costumes for that, and yeah, it's learn something new. They're still very time consuming, or if you're learning something new, it's frustrating and it breaks, but I mean, that's to be expected. That's how you learn. And you get better and you get faster, and then you get a 3D printer, and then it does the work for you. That's the secret.
Hi. I want just ask you what you think about the evolutions of the viewer in video games developments.
In the part, what?
VR, yes.
My opinion of VR.
Yes.
Okay, so first off, I get very, very, very motion sickness very easily. So VR is kind of The mixed reality stuff is big. XR is kind of like what Unity is pushing. As far as like selling, it's still a very expensive thing for someone to get up and running. Yeah, I have some opinions about that we can talk. I can talk to you after about. Yeah, it's not my entire thing, because if you don't have, at the time you need a headset. It was $1,000. If you don't have a graphics card that supported it, now you need to buy a graphics card. And now grandma is out of money, and you're like, hey, grandma, now I need a game. And at the time when they first came out, and we were working on some of the stuff for Oculus. Lucky, they're from Dallas, and that's where I live, and there was an entire lawsuit with all of that, if you know anything. Do you know about that?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was never really impressed by any of the demos. You buy this very expensive piece of hardware, and you play a game that's not replayable for 5 minutes, and it makes me throw up. But some of the power in a lot of your phones now is amazing. Like you can even buy a console cheaper than that. I think it will get better. Have you seen any of the stuff for Magic Leap? Or Magic Leap? Yeah. Yeah, they're working kind of on like a HoloLens headset, I believe. Supposedly that you can wear all day and does not make you sick. So maybe they can test it on me. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but they actually did just open an office in Dallas, and I had a friend that interviewed there. And they have some very, very, very strict intellectual property and non-compete rules. Yeah, yep. Yeah, and they're actually doing everything like in their own internal, as far as like Nintendo's, like Nintendo has like an in-house for their games. They're trying to do the same thing. So, we'll see.
Are you going to hack your body more? And if yes, how?
Am I going to hack my body more, and how? Yeah, they have I just went to a body hacking conference in Austin, and it was more than just people like putting chips in themselves and things. It's people that like medically need stuff, like diabetics can use it to monitor their blood sugar levels and things like that. And I have a friend that is paraplegic. She doesn't have an arm. So she has a open bionic prosthetic arm that she can move and control. And there's a few other chips I would like to get. I'm not against like getting more. I just want them to like serve more purpose. So I think it'll be neat if you can get there to the point where it can track some type of your levels and send that information to your doctor, or it's like, oh hey, you're about to have a heart attack, or using them for any type of payment as like a authentication, because hey, same as like if someone steals your credit card information, be like, unless the device is present, which is me or my hand gets cut off or whatever, but unless my hand is physically there, you cannot authorize that payment. It's like a transaction. And then I also pre-ordered a Tesla Model 3. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. My delivery date is May, June, so I'll probably get it in October. But their car, to start the car, is RFID. This is similar technology, and I will be very curious to see if there will be anybody using like any of their chips in their hand to try to start any of the cars. So.
You're starting your car without money, because that's a huge risk that you're starting unwillingly just because you put your hands on the driving wheel and the car reads your RFID and starts up out of nothing without you actually wanting it. That's because it's a part of the key is a part of your body, so you. Correct.
So when you because it has the key in the like in a card. So when you approach the car, it unlocks the car automatically for you. So it would be, the same idea. We'll see. As they're starting to come out in the U.S., like I'll be curious to see if you can read any of the. You know what Lego Dimensions is? The games. They're little physical games, and they sit on a toy pad for like Xbox and PlayStation. And when you take them off and remove them off the pad, they're actually an RFID tag. Or Skylander, similar. I tried to read the tag data off of like the Lego Dimension thing, and then write that tag data to my tag, so I could like put it on there, and then I could literally be like, I'm Batman, because that would be the character. But they have their own they have some type of unique ID as well. Because then, if not, somebody's going to go and make all their own little, Lego Dimension characters and then just put them on there. But I tried. I wasn't meant to save Gotham, apparently, so. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, no? Or I don't even know if we're out of time. I don't even know what time it is. If not, y'all can find me and bother me. I'll be around. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Amie.
Thanks.